Okay. So it says solve the equation by the method of your choice. All right. I guess there's one thing we hadn't talked about. We hadn't talked about doing the distributive property when you have two things out front, which it's really just the same thing. You know, the distributive property says everything in front multiplies everything inside. The same thing's going to happen if you have two things out front, just both of them multiply everything inside. So let me go ahead and write down the question real quick. We've got 3x plus 10 times x plus 2 is 3x plus 5 plus 15. All right, so just kind of a reminder from last time. Basically, if you want to solve anything that has an x squared, which after we multiply this side together, it will have an x squared in it. That is, you want to get one side 0, and once you get one side 0, you can use quadratic formula, right? So you make it look like ax squared plus bx plus c is 0, and then we have the magical x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You laugh, but it gets you listening when I sing it, so that's what I'm going for. All right, so basically all we need to do is get rid of all the parentheses, get everything on one side, then we can use quadratic formula. Right. Okay, so when we distribute with these two guys, basically both of them are going to multiply everything inside. So 3x times x is what? 3x squared. And then 3x times 2, 6x. So we took care of that guy. Now 10 times x, 10x. And 10 times 2 is 20. All right, so we got rid of the parentheses on the left. Same thing on this side. Distribute the 3 times x, 3x. 3 times 5, 15. And then 15. Okay. So we got rid of all the parentheses. Now we're going to combine our like terms on each side. So what can I put together on the left side here? Yeah, the 6x and the 10x go together. So I got 3x squared, 16x plus 20. And what about on the right? The 15s. All right, so 3x plus 30. So now each side's about as simple as we're going to get it. So the last thing is we're going to get everything on one side, and then we'll use quadratic formula. So what do I need to get rid of? Yeah, subtract 3x on both sides. And same thing, I need to subtract 30 on both sides. So all together I got 3x squared, 13x minus 10 is 0. Make the 10 look more like a 10. All right. And again, we just use quadratic formula. So we've got negative 13 plus or minus square root. 13 squared is 169. And then 4 times 3 times negative 10. Over 2 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, so that's 120. And minus minus makes a plus, so 169 plus 120 is 289. Does anybody happen to know the square root of 289? No one's going to guess? 17. All right. So our two answers, we've got either negative 13 plus 17 over 6 or negative 13 minus 17 over 6. What's negative 13 plus 17? 4. And so 4 over 6 also known as 2/3. What's negative 13 minus 17? Negative 30 divided by 6 is negative 5. That was a lot of work. What if we get to the end and we're not really sure of ourselves? What was that? Don't know what to do? I mean, I don't want to plug in the 2/3 because it's a fraction. I don't like fractions. We can always take the negative 5, go back to the equation where we started before we did anything at all, and make sure it actually works, right? So let's do that real quick. So we started with 3x plus 10, x plus 2 is 3, x plus 5 plus 15. If I put in the negative 5, what's 3 times negative 5? Plus 10 is? So this one's negative, one's positive, so yeah, it's going to negative 5. And then negative 5 plus 2? So negative 5 times negative 3 on one side. The other side I got 3 times, what's negative 5 plus 5? 0 plus 15. What's negative 5 times negative 3? 15. 3 times 0 plus 15 is 15. So sure enough, the negative 5 is right because it made both sides equal to each other. And then you could check the 2/3 if you wanted to, but I don't really want to. Do you want to, Austin? I didn't think you wanted to. All right. So go back. Still not in there. So negative 5 and 2/3. Oh, let's do another one like that. Oh. So check answer. Oh. You know, like this one. Says the formula of that right there describes the number of football games. We can make it basketball games if you want to. You want to make it basketball games? All right. That must be played in a league with T teams if each team plays every other team once. So if a league has 15 games, then how many teams belong to the league, assuming each team plays every other team once? So let me copy down what we got just real quick. So it says n is t squared minus t over 2. N is number of games. T is teams. And it says that the team has to play 15 games. And it asks for how many teams? 7 or 8 teams? I think it's. It is. Why is 15 the N and not the T? Yeah, you just have to read what it says. It says N is supposed to be number of games. It says we play 15 games. So I just change the N, make it a 15. And then we can solve it from there. Which, Joe want to cheat the first time, and then we'll solve it the real way, too. So, James had a suggestion. What was your suggestion, James? Let's try 7 teams, see what happens. We plug in 7, we got 49 minus 7 over 2. What's 49 minus 7? 42 divided by 2 is 21. That's too many, so let's try 6 teams. So apparently there's 6 teams, but so I mean you can do that I mean, on a problem where you know it's going to come out even or whatever, if you got a good estimate, I mean, you might just, it might be faster just to kind of guess and check, see if it works or not. But now let's go back and like actually solve it. So the real thing was 15 is t squared minus t over 2. Well, the first thing I don't like when I have an equation is to have a fraction in it. So how can I get rid of that 2? And I'll multiply both sides by 2. So on one side, I'm going to have 30. On the other side, the 2 just goes away. All right. So if I've got a quadratic, if I want to use the formula, what's the first thing I got to do?
30 over the same side.
Yeah, I got to get one side equal to 0. So move the 30 over. So we got 0 is t squared minus t minus 30. Now, remember I got negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I've got 1 plus or minus square root 1. 4 times 1 is 4 times 30 is 120. And minus minus, it's going to be a plus. So 120 over 2. What's the square root of 121? Yeah, 11. So I've either got 1 plus 11 over 2 or 1 minus 11 over 2. What's 1 plus 11 over 2?
12 comes out 6.
Yeah, 12 over 2, which is 6. And 1 minus 11 over 2?
5.
Negative 5. So I've either got 6 teams in my league or I've got negative 5 teams in my league. What do y'all think about that? Yeah, I don't think we're going to have negative 5 teams in the league, right? So, oops. Oh, that's ugly. What are we going to do? Oops. Okay. So it says, I mean, it gives us a little, oh, wow. That completely went away, didn't it? Let's try to get back. Should come up in just a second.